Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Slash Cast. I'm your host, Jim, here again with my now official, I would hope to say, co-host for the time being.
I'll take official co-host.
Interim co-host for the time being, unless he changes his mind. Mr. Sean Chevalier again.
How's everybody doing?
All right, and we're doing part 2 of Nightmare on Elm Street, because you chose Nightmare as your favorite series.
Yeah, sure. I mean...
Originally, I guess. But
yeah, originally it was, like I said. I always was big into the Elm Street versions. Versions? The Elm Street series.
So there were eight movies with Freddy, right?
I believe so.
Where would you rank this one at?
Right above probably Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Which is high or low on your list?
Ooh, it's way at the
That's
bottom.
pretty low,
yeah.
huh?
If we had to go from bottom, we'd go Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, Elm Street 2.
Wow.
Well, you know, that's my opinion, man. I mean...
Wow. I was a fan of New Nightmare, man.
I didn't say it stunk.
I love the fourth wall stuff, you know what I mean? The actors playing themselves and stuff.
Yeah, but it was just, well...
I thought it was we
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we got a couple more episodes till we get to that.
If you really want to get down to it, like I said last time, of the original trilogy, it was 3, 1, 2. It's not a terrible movie. It's just a confusing movie.
So you're looking forward to 3 then?
Oh well,
you like 3?
Hell yeah, 3's basically when Freddy got his attitude, and that's where the whole thing changed, where he was a smart ass and he was a wisecrack. And
3 is that Dream Warriors?
Yes. Come on.
Yeah. Docking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Freddie was in a music video on MTV.
Input docking clip real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, this one was later on known as the gayest horror movie of all time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in this one. But before we get into this, let me say one thing.
Go ahead.
This shout out, I got to give a shout out to my buddy, Jeff Ulysny. He went above and beyond last week. That new music you heard at the beginning, that's all his work. Mm-hmm. And to Jeff, I say thank you very much. I know Jim's very appreciative too.
Very much so, yeah.
And he threw that together in record time for us. And to that I say once again, thank you so much, Jeff. He's on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/madmonk13. So please go check his stuff out. I think he's a brilliant musician.
And the link's going to be in the description for his SoundCloud too, so you'll be able to click on it.
Absolutely. Okay, now that we got the...
You also hear his outro music at the end of this episode for the first time.
That is correct too. Yes. So now that we got the gratuitous plug out of the way, You're welcome, Jeff. I hope it opens up a lot of doors for you.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. We definitely appreciate it.
Anyways,
I threw together what I had, within no time at all, just to get it done. So
now let's get back to
Nightmare 2.
Nightmare 2. With what you were saying about, there was a lot of underlying tones that were in this movie, and just at the time of me seeing it, I was really confused.
I wanted to ask you, how old were you when you first saw this, do you think?
This was the first one that I saw, so I'm going to say probably 14, 15.
Did anything stand out to you back then?
Yeah, the guy could scream really good like a girl.
Yes. My third question here was, should Jessie be a scream queen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first man, he should be right up there with Linnea Quigley. Absolutely. I mean, is Jamie Lee Curtis a scream queen? I would imagine.
She'll always be my scream queen.
There you go. Yeah, there was just a lot of really, you know what, I might as well just say it. There was a lot of homophobic undertones.
Homosexualic.
Whatever. I mean,
well, yes. There are a lot more now that I just watched it last night. I watched it last night in preparation, and I was like, holy shit. Almost every other scene had something where I could point out as...
Yeah. There was a lot of... Well, I mean, and The only other, like I said, before we even jump into that, what I kind of noticed, and rewatching it years later, I mean, the whole premise was completely gone.
Yeah.
Freddy's in the real world. He's not terrorizing people in their dreams anymore. I mean, you had Wes Craven not coming back, not wanting a Nightmare on Elm Street to turn into a sequel factory. Mm-hmm. There was a bunch of tension on, I guess, Elm Street 1 between him and Robert Shea.
Yeah.
So that's why Shea didn't offer him back.
Shea's always wanted to be like the star. He wanted to be the star of the movie, but he could never be an actor. That's why he always puts himself in the movies.
Right. But, like I said, learning and doing research later on in the years and stuff, finding out that, New Line Cinema just said, yeah, we're going to make a second one. And they didn't even, Robert Shea and New Line Cinema didn't even use Craven's original idea for the end of the original Elm Street, where everything was a dream. Everybody was happy. Mom didn't get pulled through the door.
Yeah.
Nancy was dreaming the whole thing, which I think would have ruined it.
Dreaming the whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie was a dream, which would have just been,
a waste of time.
Yeah. So Robert Shea got two other guys. One guy's name was David Chaskin. He was the scriptwriter, and he worked at the 16 millimeter film distribution department for New Line Cinemas. I don't know how that makes him a scriptwriter. And the director was Jack Shoulder, who I guess made the film trailers for TV for New Line Cinema. So you take these two guys and you're going to give them something or a character or a franchise that they probably have no idea, and they're going to try to make a sequel. The thing that gets me is the director wanted to get out of the silly dream world. He was quoted as saying that, Freddy was there was too much in the dream world. Well, that's what it was all about. I mean,
and that's what was lost, and that's a lot of my notes what came from. This isn't Freddy even killing. This is a possessed person. I believe Jesse was possessed by Freddy.
Yeah, that's
the whole movie.
That's exactly what I believe too. Was Freddy?
So it wasn't dreaming, because he wasn't being manifested in his dream, because Jesse wouldn't know, he didn't know anything about him.
Jesse was always awake when stuff was happening.
Yeah, and the fact that when you could tell too, because the glove's only in like two scenes in the movie. The rest of the time it's a hand with blades coming out of the fingers.
Right.
That's to show that it's Jesse and not Freddy.
Right. Exactly.
And
well, there was that.
So Jesse's the killer in this movie. Well, I mean, ultimately.
Well, yeah. I mean, just the outside of it.
Yeah.
It was actually Freddy inside him, which is another,
But it was a possession movie more than a dream world movie.
The second thing that was weird that, they started with the rest of the genres, the horror genres. There was no survivors. So the Thompson family, Mama, she was gone. God rest her inflatable soul. Nancy, who knows where Nancy went to. So you had Jesse, his mom and dad, and I believe a little sister move into the old Thompson house. So my question is, does Freddy just haunt the people that were in that house? Because that wasn't his house.
Why does he go after people in the house since it wasn't Freddy's house?
Oh, I'm not reading. I'm not cheating off
you
your
take my notes, bro.
I'm sorry. But no, I mean,
that was my question. Why him?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I was led to believe, the whole scene in Elm Street 1 whenever Mom takes Nancy down, shows her the blades, gives her the whole backstory for you, that Nancy's mom had something to do with the lynch mob that...
She was part of the mob that killed him.
Yeah, exactly. One of the people that were in the mob. So, that leads to the question, okay, so you're going to take Nancy and the Thompsons out of it. Her father was a cop in Springwood.
Yeah.
Where was he at?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have no Nancy, no Thompson family member at all, so we're just going to try to just forget everybody that was a survivor, so we're going to start a whole new family. So,
well, this is also 5 years after that took place.
That is true. That is true.
A lot could have changed. Who knows?
But, to find out, years later, once we start researching and stuff like that, is Heather Landing Camp was never asked to come back. She said in countless number of interviews that they never entertained even offering her a part in Elm Street 2. So once again, as far as I'm concerned, that's a mistake on the part of.
Well, I think they knew that, and that's why we got part 3 for what it was.
Well, that's true. Maybe they thought
they said, okay, we'll just go ahead and do what we should have done.
Yeah, maybe she wanted more money, and more so or less, I would agree with it because I thought she was a great actress in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing that just surprised me that I found out today that we almost didn't have Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger because he wanted considerable pay raise for doing this, and the director and the 16 millimeter distribution guy said no, it's just anybody can do it. They're just wearing makeup or basically a dick in a rubber mask. So they hired a stuntman or an extra, and they found out within like a week this guy was playing it like Boris Karloff, Frankenstein, just lumbering around. And they got a hold of Robert Englund and said, whatever you want, just come back.
Yeah.
And that to me speaks volumes about how you build a franchise with a character, especially somebody like Freddy, as iconic as Freddy. The whole attitude.
Nobody else can play that part.
Well,
it's just fact. I believe there are some roles that are just meant for certain people.
Right.
He made this character. We could probably have another killer with blades on his hands that was burned and stuff, and just create a whole different backstory and not be Freddy Krueger, and believe it. But nobody can ever just be Freddy Krueger. I don't think. Besides him.
No.
That's who we're always going to see.
And they tried that with Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, that didn't work.
No, it didn't.
I'm not looking forward to that one.
Well, we're not doing that one. I won't do that
okay.
remake.
Okay.
Get that.
That's fine with me.
So, but yeah, those 3 points right there, like I said, back whenever I first saw it, like I said, there was something odd about it. There was something different through the whole movie, and learning later on that those 3 points about Wes Craven not coming back and the whole script and Nancy not coming back, which, you kind of noticed that in the film, but for those reasons and the whole thing with England, the whole film was changed.
Mm-hmm.
The whole feeling of it, and you can definitely tell it watching the movie.
Yes. Like I said, especially watching it recently, like now, I just watched it again, seeing different things. It's like I said, though, it was cool that they threw back to her story.
Yeah, that very brief scene with finding her.
Well, really, a lot of the movie had to do with what they found in her diary. So it was molded, still being told by Nancy, but she just wasn't in the movie.
Right.
Because they were following what she did.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, they found her diary up on the shelf of Jesse's closet next to the board game called Probe, which was another. Yeah, that too. If that wasn't some kind of in joke or whatever for the whole thing.
I'm gonna play the dance scene for you.
The dance scene.
The dance scene.
The homage to risky business, as they say. Yeah. Yeah. And the song "Touch Me."
I wanted to ask. You were. Would you say 12, 13,
14,
14?
14, 15.
Were you doing this stuff when you were in your
Was
room
I
alone
doing
at
this?
night?
No, I had a tennis racket.
Sunglasses like that?
No, I didn't have any Ray-Bans or whatever those were. We always called those the Huey Lewis glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't doing any of this. I had an Italian mother. My room was always clean.
Oh, look at those.
Yeah.
This is great. And you didn't know.
It's not that I didn't know, and maybe I didn't want to believe her. Like I said, I was really confused about this movie. And the money shot.
The acid wash jeans.
Yeah, and
see, it says chicks.
Does it really say? I'm telling you, man, I could have swore that says. Yeah, I guess it does say chicks.
Yep, chicks.
No something
It
chicks.
says, I saw it last night. No out-of-town chicks.
No out-of-town chicks.
No
Okay,
out-of-town
so.
chicks. I'm going to play the kills in the movie a little bit later, but we'll...
Oh, and that screenshot of the,
Yes.
Well, we'll get into actor Mark Patton here in a little bit, but, talking about being, the movie kind of confused me, notwithstanding the acting from Mark Patton and everything, but the whole pool scene.
Oh, that's so far down the line now.
I know it's so far down the line, but still, I mean, we're talking. I was okay. Well, we can always hold on.
It was just back. Well,
it was.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, confusing. I mean, there's Freddy.
But watching it now, I see it's not Freddy. It's Jesse.
Well, yeah, I guess it.
That was my one note. I said everybody was mad that they brought Freddy into the real world, but it wasn't Freddy. It was Jesse because he only had the blades coming out of his fingers. He did not have the glove.
Well, that is a true statement.
Plus, we don't even know that the kids were seeing Freddy. They just said he. They could have been seeing.
Yeah, that's a good
Jesse,
thing too.
and we were seeing Freddy. You know what I mean?
I'm not even talking so much about that. I'm just talking about the whole confusion of that scene.
Yeah.
Trying to bring Freddy out into the real world and killing. Okay. He really kind of did it only once in Elm Street. I mean, the whole
but
thing.
He was pulled in.
He was actually pulled in.
That's what I said about this one, like him having so much control over the real world without having any.
I mean, and just him going around and slashing, and I mean, hot dogs catching fire, and which is another
another wiener joke.
Yeah, another wiener joke. Yeah, but I mean, it just looked like complete and utter chaos. Like there was nothing planned. Like here's what's going to happen. We're going to have just shit blowing up left and right. You never know what's going to happen. And when Robert Englund comes near you and waves his arm, fall down. It just looked like mass utter confusion. Like this movie was like it was rushed to get out of it. Got into production.
Cash grab.
Yeah.
Back then they all were. Every horror slasher that made money, they were like, we got to make another one. That's why they were still having all the movies still today from back then.
Well, yeah.
But the one thing I think about in that scene was, do you think what happened to all those kids that survived? Do you think they were put in Weston Hills and they were you know what I mean? Were they put in Weston Hills because of this? Because they would not have been able to quiet this down. They would have been talking and spreading the word and stuff, right? And that would have just caused Freddy to come back because everybody was talking about.
There were a lot of kids in Weston Hill.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of plot holes too.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch of plot holes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Bunch of plot holes. There's, I
mean, how many phallic symbols do you think you've noticed in that movie?
Let's just jump right in. Hey, how many dicks did you see?
Well, I'm thinking.
Let's see. There's one in the kitchen somewhere. I know there is.
But the snake in class.
Yeah, wrapping around his face and stuff like that. Yeah. The whole dance scene with the pop gun.
Yep.
Oh well, okay. The wiener's catching on fire. I mean,
in the scene with the coach when he goes to the S&M club.
Oh God.
His gym teacher finds him and takes him back to the gym, and he's running laps, and the coach goes into his office. He's picking up a jump rope, and he's looking for other shit, like he's gonna go rape him.
Yeah, once again, this movie was so confusing. There was just nothing was clear in this.
And then while the coach is getting killed,
balls come out his face.
Flying at him,
white balls, black balls, yellow tennis balls.
Freddy smacking his ass with a towel.
Yeah,
in the shower. It was pretty weird, man.
It was.
But in that scene, Freddy was wearing his glove, so it was not Jesse. It was Freddy.
Okay,
but then they go through the smoke, and Jesse's sitting there wearing the glove.
Right. So was it Freddy controlling him once again? Was it
Well, like I said,
was he dreaming?
He had the glove on in that scene, but not in the other scenes.
Right. So
that's what I'm saying.
I still think, though. I mean, you do have a valid point with the glove. Somewhere long time ago, I read that the glove was stolen. Somewhere halfway in production. Yeah. I'd have to find out about it. Maybe that's the whole.
I mean, it was definitely clear that they were showing a burnt hand with blades coming out of his fingertips.
The scene where he comes.
And I think that's when Jesse is possessed by Freddy at that time. But the other times Freddy's able to come through, and so why wouldn't he always come through? It didn't make sense.
Well, the clearest example of that is when Freddy comes out of Jesse.
Yeah.
You can see the blades actually coming through the end of Jesse's hand. And yeah, you never do see any signs of the glove. It's just burnt flesh and yeah. Maybe that was a way to cover the fact that like I said, I know I read somewhere that the glove was stolen.
Like I'm looking into it, like the writers actually did it on purpose to like show the difference between Freddy and Jesse, who was actually doing the killing during which scene. That's the way I looked at it.
It's a good possibility. You bring up a good point. Bring up a very good point.
Couple things here. Then you mentioned the family moving into the house.
Right.
Reminiscent of Halloween 6 because the Strode family couldn't sell the house. And they had to move into that house because his brother couldn't sell it. Here they said, they couldn't sell the house. That's why we got it so cheap.
That's
like
right.
The same story
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Well, a girl went crazy in that house.
Yeah.
At least Dad had the common decency to paint the front door red.
He did. That's so weird, though. If you notice, the red door like stands out like crazy.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
but then again, probably the owners of that house probably painted it sometime in between that year or something. That, it's not really an interesting fact. Just edit that out. I'm sorry.
There's no editing here. But...
Yeah, I know.
So, do you think that Grady, the dude from Weird Science, was in love with Jesse?
No.
Not at all.
I think it was the other way around.
Uh-huh.
And then again...
Not to me. No, I just watched it last night. To me, it looked like he was mad whenever he wanted to talk to the girl. He left in the cafeteria.
Well, then again, there was that scene at the very beginning. Something happens between Grady and Jesse, and Jesse gets depanted, his bare ass and his jock strap.
Yeah.
Those two are rolling around with Jesse's pants still down to his ankles, and of course the gym coach grabs them both, stands them up, and says, "Assume the position."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ass comes out.
I mean, that's still... like I said, it was such a weird, confusing script to me.
And then the scene before Jesse kills Grady, and all these episodes are spoilers, by the way. So if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it before you.
Spoiler alert!
You find any more out. He says, "Yeah, you have a female waiting for you, and you want to sleep with me."
That's why I don't think it was. That's why I don't think Grady.
Weird. And then he says, "He's inside me. He owns me." So was Jesse Freddy's bitch?
Sure.
Yeah.
I believe that for...
He owns me.
Yeah. He was trying... maybe Freddy was tired of tromping around the dream world and he wanted to get into the real world start, I mean, it seems to me that the writers, the way they did this, they wrote Jesse as a confused teenage boy, struggling with something or whatever, and it was Freddy trying to push him over the edge of going, here's what we're going to do. Maybe it was a metaphor. I don't know. The evil trying to get inside of Jesse. I mean, Freddy completely peels apart and drops Jesse's skin in Grady's room. So, hey, guess what? Freddy just came out trying to show Jesse, hey, maybe this is what happens if you let me in. You've got the body, I've got the brain, that whole thing,
The climax of the movie was actually Jesse coming out of Freddy after he gets burned up.
Yeah. The magical kiss from the quote-unquote last female, the surviving female.
Yes.
Jesse, I love you. And,
Virginic.
Yes.
Final girl.
You know what? On a different note, when Lisa, I believe her name was walking into the boiler room or the whatever you want to call it, the dogs
with the human faces.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
That just looked so bad. I don't know why that just popped into my head.
They were working on a lot of effects back then.
Yeah, I guess so. But this is where Kevin Yeager took over. And Kevin Yeager was the man who basically made Freddy who he looks like today.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of pictures or reference material for what the makeup was on the first one, so he kind of went for it. He actually studied burn victims and tried to bring out like the understructure, bone structure of Freddy. It kind of worked. Sometimes it kind of looked bad.
Yeah.
Every
mask is different too in every movie.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I didn't like the old man Freddy. I don't know who did that makeup. If it was 5 or whatever, but he just looked really
old man Freddy.
Yeah, he looked like a saggy old man with a couple of red things stuck to his face.
The one good thing that came out of Freddy vs. Jason was Uber Devil Freddy coming out of the lake, the red ass with the red skin.
Oh, with all the teeth showing.
But it had like really deep red, and he had the pointy ears like a demon version of Freddy.
That's what he was supposed to look like.
But it looked really cool. There was another movie too, but Freddy vs. Jason.
That's what Wes Craven's
really cool.
original image of Freddy was supposed to look like. He was supposed to have more teeth showing, and I guess in 1984 you couldn't really
but it
pull it off.
It looked cool.
Yeah, it did.
It looked cool. All right, I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
I think it was like, I don't know, 32-second break.
Okay.
And then we will come back and discuss the kills.
All right, we'll do some kills.
I'll play the clip of the kills from the movie. It's a little compilation, and we will comment on the kills.
Alrighty.
All right, we'll be right back.
I'm going to go get a refill.
Go get them. And we are back.
Yes, we are. Let's get into the kills, because, of course, that's what every horror movie buff wants to see.
I'm going to play the clips, and then we can comment so they're all fresh in our memory.
Sure.
And everybody can watch along.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's definitely the glove right there. See?
And it's dreamable. I mean, why would we want to turn him dead?
Exactly.
And then this is his
This
hand.
is the one that was just the bare hand. But see, that to me was, like you said, that is something to bring up. Wow.
I think they were like fishing paring knives that they used blades to.
Tomato knives.
Paring knives. What was it?
Tomato knives. P210s. Don't ask me why I know. Well, I tried to build one years ago. Anyway, but yeah, that's where. Now that scene right there
It's Jesse.
is Jesse.
But he's controlling all the fire and shit. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't at all. Oh, okay. Well, there's your answer. Now watching these kills. That's real. Well, that guy, he's dead. That dude just got
blood all the way
skewered.
up there somehow.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is he's
It's
controlling the real world, and he's not.
Yeah.
It's not even Freddy. It's Jesse.
It has to be. This absolutely. All that was nothing to leave it wide open for a sequel.
Yeah. That's all it was.
Bus driver going down.
See? But it's not even Freddy. It should be quotes because it's not Freddy to me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe there is something to your theory there about when it's not the actual metal glove, it's Freddy doing it. And
yeah. And like I said, I watched that scene last night, and all they ever said was, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" They never said anything like, "Who's that?" So I think they're just seeing Jesse.
It very well could be.
Wearing the glove, because he does have the actual glove.
Yeah, and you do see Jesse a couple times, especially in the shower scene,
So
whenever
wearing
he's sitting there looking, and the glove kind of chatters to him, like Freddy saying, "Hey, psst, over here, buddy," and he looks and
it shows up in his drawer. He always has the glove throughout the movie, and
yep.
Like I said, that scene he's not wearing it, but we're seeing the blades coming out. So I think it was like them showing the human version of Freddy because it was Jesse.
Right.
Makes sense.
I'll go with it.
I broke it.
You broke it all.
I broke it. What year was this? I broke it
85,
this many years later.
Oh.
35 years later.
Something like that.
I decoded the
you should work with Tom
the
Hanks.
deep meaning of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Yeah. We're going to talk about we talk about the kills and everything.
Yes.
I also, you have to talk about like the special effects. That scene of the coach's back.
Yep. I played that video back at like half speed last night because they can actually slow it down on there, and you can just see in the prosthetic like the plastic or whatever they use, the rubber cut.
It
looks
looked
cool, man.
But in full speed. I mean, the first time I saw that looked. that went so deep. It looked like, you know what I'm saying? And it looked good. But unfortunately, that was probably about the only kill in there, if you want to say a kill that looks good, effects-wise, to me.
Well, yeah, because most of his kills came from that pool party.
Yeah, most of the kids were running into, boiling hot water or whatever, so none of them got out alive.
Arm coming out through the chest, you couldn't really see anything. It was really quick.
So was that a dream sequence at the end?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I would imagine it would have to be. The bus is off-roading from Springfield into, the desert.
Unless you're telling me Freddy's just all of a sudden in the real world now. Well, it doesn't make any sense. So I just
bringing him into the real world was a real mistake for that script.
I think that was just something they were told to do. Leave this open for a sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
So you hear him laughing, and that was the end.
And the other thing too is going back to Wes Craven, allowing to read the script that these two putzes decided that they were going to try to write to make the second one, and all his notes coming back to them for feedback was, please do not make this screenplay. And of course it was ignored because he knew that it wasn't going to be any good. I mean, how can you ask the person who came up with the characters, hey, do me a favor, read this, see if it's up to your standards, and if the guy who invented everything came up with the character says, no, don't do it, it's not what I want to. Oh, we're going to go ahead anyhow, what do you know? I mean, it was doomed. The funny thing is it grossed 2 times more than what...
Just because people wanted to see the sequel to Freddy.
Yeah, exactly. 2 times more than what Elm Street did. And you know what? They got me. They got me on video rental.
Yeah,
I mean...
Of course. I mean, and that's why I said they were all back then. And that's why they had to get different directors, different writers, because people were like, I did one. Why do I want to keep doing the same damn movie over and over again? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like, Savini said he did the makeup effects on the first Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Which
for 1980, 79 when it was filmed, it wasn't...
I'm not even... Well, yeah, I got what you're saying, but, he says, I made Jason, he came back all the way on number 4. He says in interviews, he brought Jason to life, he should have been the one to take him out. And he's like, okay, I sliced his brain in half with a machete and he slid down it.
Yep.
How is there a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8? It's just people wanting to see teens killed different ways. You're right, Tom. It really is. But
it's a simple formula that does work.
That's all it is. I mean,
it hits everybody in their carnal pleasures. You get usually erotica. You get the gore factor that we're not supposed to see. In real life, it makes us. We don't like seeing it in real life, but in a movie, it can release those thoughts we probably do have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I lost it there, buddy. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I don't know. I completely lost it too. I was talking, just talking about the special effects, and you were talking about how people can come in and do and write whatever. Yeah. It's not. I don't know if it's difficult to write a horror movie. I think it's difficult to write a good scripted horror movie, and this isn't one of them. And this is a prime example of just, we've got the character, we're going to do whatever we want to with it. Freddy, in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, he was just kicking ass in the dream world. Whenever the kids were asleep, he could do whatever he wants to. The second one, screw that. We're going to bring him into the real world where he has no power. But apparently he did.
Apparently he does.
Like making flames shoot out of bushes and shit.
Yeah. I don't get it. Like I said, the only thing that I respected was that they did mention Nancy, they did mention her story, and they did follow her diary throughout the movie. So they did somewhat bring up the original, but the movie itself literally had nothing to do with what the character, the story, the other characters in the movie. Nancy could still be alive. Somewhere, I guess you could at least, like you said, she wasn't even asked to be in it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
But here's what it is. They've done it in every series, I think. I mean, the Halloween series got so screwed up because of new writers and new storylines, and
the Halloween series got messed up because of everybody hates Halloween 3 is the season of the witch.
No.
I don't care how cheesy that movie was; it was good.
If it didn't have the Halloween name on it, it would be a great standalone horror movie.
Yeah.
just don't name it Halloween.
Yeah.
That's all I ever said about it. I said, but you can't tell me it's a Halloween because it's not to me.
Well, and whenever, people are like, oh, were you watching the Michael Myers? Did you see the third one? And he wasn't in the third one. It goes 1, 2, 4, 5.
Yes. He was on TV in the third one.
That was about it.
That was it.
That was it.
They showed Halloween on TV commercial, and you saw Michael coming down the steps, but that's it.
They had to put a tie into it somehow. But, the throwback to Nancy and maybe finding her. I mean, there should have been something a little bit more, maybe a or a couple scenes or something filmed where, aftermath of what happened in Elm Street 1, they show, Nancy or a stunt double or a double of them taking her out and, the mother this, oh, she went crazy, blah, 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 boom. 5 years later.
Like, I assumed that she was in an asylum, and we were just seeing a dream sequence at the end of the original.
Yeah, I really never, after watching the first one, I really never knew what happened. I just assumed that, the car that Freddy was driving got her, and everybody else again.
Well, that's why I think it was a dream. I mean, plus you saw the dancing girls, the mom rubber doll getting sucked up through the door.
Girls.
The jump rope girls.
Oh, okay.
Jump rope
What
girls.
the hell movie were you watching with the dancing girl? Oh,
Jump rope girls.
No, the
1, 2, Freddy.
the little girls.
Yes. On the side of the school bus in this movie, it says Springwood IND. I thought that it stood for Indiana, but they do mention Springwood in Ohio throughout the series. So why would it be a Springwood, Indiana school bus?
Because the prop people messed up and didn't cover it up. I don't know.
And then at the end of the movie, they're driving through a desert. Are there deserts in Ohio or Indiana?
Dream World, baby.
You know what
That's
I'm saying?
all you have to, yeah.
So that
Dream
tells us right away that what we're watching is a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Because
Dream World.
there's things you can pick out.
Oh, Dream World, yeah. I let but we stated it before, and you go into the dream realm, and you can do anything. Freddy has ultimate power, and you said it last week. You can get away with the stupidest, weirdest shit.
Yeah.
And because you're in the dream world, you can do whatever.
And
they completely took that out of this one, and it just screwed it all up.
And it's not a dream movie; it's a possession movie.
It is.
I don't believe that he was infiltrating anybody's dreams in this movie. He was possessing Jesse, and that was it.
My question is this: if it's a possession movie, what possessed the parakeet to blow up?
That's part of Freddy manipulating the real world, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was a gas leak.
Oh yeah, sure, it was a gas leak. Yeah, it was a gas leak, all right.
And the father, Mr. how do you say his last name?
I'm going to say it's
Gulager?
Gulager, I believe. Golder.
Gulager?
Mr. G.
Yes. Also Return of the Living Dead.
Absolutely.
Just watched that last night also. It came on right after I was done with this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I got to watch that again. Anyways. Yeah, there was a...
Give me your final thoughts on this.
Don't waste your time.
And we finally get the amount of kids that Freddy killed.
Yeah, it was 20.
20 kids he took to the factory and killed. And they still, in this version, or in this part, we're still going with the child murderer instead of molester story. Because she just said he brought him there and killed him.
Yeah.
So we know that he killed 20 kids before they burned him.
There was something else. We get to see Robert Englund
driving
the school bus in the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's another piece of trivia, and I'm trying to find the names, but
which we know now was a dream sequence. So it was Freddy controlling his dream by showing himself as a human form.
Absolutely.
Another little
there you go.
Deep dig.
But there was a at the beginning of the movie, the whole bus sequence, the one girl all the way in the back, her. And I cannot remember her name, and Heather Langenkamp. How do you say her last name? Is it Langenkamp?
Langenkamp, yeah.
They worked together on that show, The 10 of Us. I don't know if you ever remember
Just
that.
the 10 of us?
Just the 10 of us or something like that.
Yeah.
And there was a third girl that was on that was in the Elm Streets. I'll have to get their names. But I thought that was kind of neat. I think it was it the Amanda Weiss or something? I can't remember. Yeah, and that more little... trivia there.
80s actors. They were in a ton of stuff
Yeah, they
together.
were. Yeah. But my final thoughts, as you had said before, I'd see it once just to look at it and go, what the hell were they smoking in the 80s? And then just let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, in all fairness, it's not a terrible movie. It's just, it's really confusing watching it and knowing everything you learned in the first one, and then everything just went out the window in the second one. It's that my final thought.
All right. Well, like I said, I just watched it last night, and I didn't feel like I felt like, I can put this movie on just like I can put any other sequel in any other franchise on.
Yep.
I mean, I can rewatch any Nightmare on Elm Street, just like I can watch any Halloween or Friday 13th. And I can just put them on and watch any part, you know what I mean? Never gets old to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, it doesn't get old, but it's,
So, I mean, like I said, I just watched it last night and just watched it just like a normal movie.
Yeah, I can definitely do that as well. It's just, but, one of those ones, if it's on, if it's between, like, that or the female version of Ghostbusters, watch the female version of Ghostbusters, because it's probably...
Wouldn't do it.
And that's bad for me saying that.
Couldn't, wouldn't, haven't, won't.
Negative. I'll never watch it either.
No. Oh, thank you.
Nope.
When's the release date for the new one, by the way?
I don't know. Sometime this year, I believe.
I thought so. I thought it was late this year, October.
Just a note to Sony. Harold Ramis is dead. Let the franchise die. That'll make all my Ghostbuster buddies pissed.
They got to make up for what they did with the female one, I think. But
hopefully,
as far as this movie goes, like I said, I can rewatch it just like any other sequel.
What do you give it out of a 10?
Out of 10, I'm gonna give this as a full movie, a standalone movie. I'd say a 4. As a movie in a series of Nightmare on Elm Street, just it downgrades it because it didn't stick with the original storyline. So it's a 2 for me. Yeah.
As a standalone movie, you give it a 2?
No,
I'm sorry.
What did I say? 4, 3.
4.
Yeah, 4 is a standalone. Just as a horror
movie.
movie.
I would probably give it a 4 as a standalone, but in the franchise, it doesn't even rank to me. Half star, maybe 1.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense to the series. I like whenever they started delving more into Freddy's origin story with the mother and the maniacs and all that kind of shit. This just didn't.
And they got and the nice thing is too, after this movie, starting with the third in the series, everything moves out of that house. It's more focused in the town of Springwood, and which makes a little bit more sense, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But
were there any cops in this movie?
I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah, like the lack of police whenever kids are getting killed. And...
Oh, we sure know Nancy's dad wasn't on
hell?
patrol that,
like, where the
that
hell was he
day
at?
or that week.
Like, where was he at?
Yeah, he was too busy, doing, I don't know.
But like
at the bar.
One final thought, like I said, I don't consider this a Freddy movie, much like a lot of people don't consider Friday the 13th Part 5 a Jason movie because it's not Jason. It's Roy. So, in this movie, I believe Freddy wasn't doing the killing. I think it was Jesse doing the killing. And I think it was a possession movie, not a nightmare movie, which to me just takes away from the whole series itself. Plus, Freddy keeps asking Jesse to kill for him, meaning Freddy doesn't have the power to do it himself, much like Freddy vs. Jason. He had to bring Jason back to kill for him to spread the fear. But it still didn't make sense because Jesse was still doing the killing and Freddy wasn't taking over or having any power, so none of it added up.
Now you brought that point up, Mr. I don't like Freddy versus Jason.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if Jesse
yes.
has no idea or any ties to the killing or the lynch mob or anything
why was he
of
thinking
Freddy
about
Krueger,
Freddy?
How did Freddy find him? Was Freddy looking through the phone book and going, let's see who's in the Thompson's house. Oh, look.
But like I said, why is he haunting only in that house?
Exactly. So why is he haunting that house
That story is
only?
never told.
So
yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I did like some of the kills, not all of the kills, but I don't believe this was a Freddy movie strictly because Freddy was being possessed, or Jesse was being possessed by Freddy and needing to kill for Freddy, which means, to me, Freddy was not powerful at all. Because he
lost something. He definitely lost something.
And it wasn't other kids dreaming about him to bring him back to life. It was just Jesse's story.
Right.
So
Right. And that wasn't, like I said, that was another thing that changed. There was no, Wes Craven actually wrapped up Elm Street perfect at the end of the first one. That was it. Everything was done. So they bring this one back, but there was no explanation of how do we know who Freddy is? What's going on?
no.
Jesse's parents had nothing to do with it. They could have moved from Hoboken, New Jersey. No idea who Krueger was unless they read it in a newspaper somewhere.
But the dad didn't know because he knew that's why they got it so cheap.
Right.
He knew that the girl went crazy, and that's why he was.
That was
there
it.
were
That's
bars
the
still on
only-
the windows.
That's the only thing that we know. We didn't know. They had no history about
No.
what went on in the house. Hey, the mother of the person who was in here, the mother of the daughter, led the lynch mob or was part of the lynch mob. She had the blades in the basement. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean we'll delve back into like I said, we do hear more about the backstory throughout the sequels, so
Yeah.
we'll be able to go into more of that. And with the return of Nancy,
Oh yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Absolutely.
Since you'd say that's your favorite, I think.
AKA when Freddy gets his groove and his attitude.
There you go. He becomes
becomes
mainstream. He becomes more attitude-y, more star. He's a star.
Well,
now, I would say.
there's an interesting piece that I have that has to deal with the second one, but it actually sets up into the third one. Mark Patton, who actually played Jesse, says that the first movie, the star was Heather.
Yeah.
The second movie, he was the star. It was too late. Third movie, Robert Englund, quote, got what he wanted whenever they finally realized that it couldn't just be a stuntman, so they gave Robert Englund whatever he wanted. So he got top billing.
Yeah.
He became the star of the Elm Streets after that. So yes,
100% deservable too.
absolutely.
Absolutely. He made that company. He made that series. He made that character.
All hail you, Mr. Englund.
And one of the nicest guys too.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. But other than that, I am good, and I can send us out on this one if you're good.
I'm ready to go.
All right, sweet. I appreciate you coming back again, and we will be back for Part 3 of Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Warriors.
And once again, thank you very much, Jeff Ulisny, for this intro and the outro.
And the outro you're about to hear right now. Thank you. If you don't like me already on Facebook, like /cast on Facebook.
I've never liked you.
You don't like
Oh.
nobody does on there. But yeah, search /cast on Facebook to like the page and know whenever I upload new episodes. Going to be weekly. If I'm going to try to do my best to keep that schedule. So
Hopefully.
we will see what happens.
Absolutely, Mr. Backus.
Thank you, Mr. Chevalier, and you all have a good day, night, whenever you're listening. And until next time.
See you later.
Later.